Okay, so I'm making this video as review in case you're confused about the cases in German. So we could say die Fälle im Deutschen. So basically in German, based on the placement within the sentence, we change the adjective endings and the definite and indefinite articles that we would associate with different nouns. So first, I've got this statement here. So two qualities determine the article endings we use for nouns. So the articles are like der, die, das. Those are the definite articles. Indefinite would be ein, eine, einen, und so weiter. So we'll say the or words. So what are these two qualities then? We have the gender that is inherent to the noun. So we'll say inherent gender of each noun. Every noun in the German language has a gender. Or it could be in the plural. So we could say plural as alternative. Then the other quality is the aforementioned case. So we ask ourselves the question here, what role does this noun play in the sentence? And here I basically typed the same thing. So there are 4 total cases in German, der nominative, der accusative, der dative, und der genitive. And genitive is not used all that commonly, and we're not going to talk about it this semester. You can learn it if you want to, but it's not really relevant for our purposes. So we have nominative, accusative, dative. So we got the nominative. When do we use this? I found as a mnemonic, it helps to think about like this root nam, like as in naming. So we're going to name the person or the thing that is the actor in this sentence, the subject. So we could say subject or link to subject by to be. This is something that on the last test I noticed tripped some people up. If I want to say, let's say Udo ist der Professor. We know that der changes to den in accusative, but here, even though der Professor and Udo are 2 different nouns, we're going to keep der because to be just links subjects together. It's called a complementary verb, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, nominative, subject of the sentence. We can say, this is who or what completes the action of a verb. And every sentence should have a verb, otherwise it's a fragment. Of course, you can artfully use fragments, but that's also not relevant to our purposes today. So we have nominative. The next one is the accusative. And for me, the mnemonic sentence that I find helps is I accuse you. So you are the one being accused. You are the direct object. So we could say direct object or following an accusative preposition. So the direct object is the noun that is acted upon by the verb. So if I say, I like apples, for example, apples are the recipient of this liking. Apples are what is or what are being liked. And then the accusative prepositions, we've talked about most of them. We have durch, that means through, für, gegen, against, ohne, without, which is around, or at a certain time, like 7 Uhr would be like at 7 o'clock. Yeah, those are the ones you should remember. The others are used less frequently. I believe bis is also an accusative preposition. So that's when we would use the accusative. Then we have the dative. So I can say, I give my date a rose. Say we're watching The Bachelor and they're going on a date, and the date goes really well, and the date gets the first impression rose. So the date here, the person that the noun date is referring to, is the one who is receiving the rose. The rose is what's being given. So the rose will highlight the accusative in yellow, let's say. Go back and highlight apples. Then we have dative, my date. We'll make that a nice, I don't know how to describe this. It's not cerulean, but sort of off blue. So I give my date a rose. And both of these have the same subject, I. We can highlight the I in green. Here, in this sentence, that where both nouns were nominative, we can highlight both in green. They're just linked by to be. The subject is existing as itself. So this green I is the one who is carrying out the action of the giving. So this is our verb, and this is the fulcrum that serves as the center of the sentence. That's what links all these words together. So I does the giving, the rose is what's being given, and the date is the recipient. So that person then is the indirect object. So we could say not acted upon by the verb. I'm not giving my date away. Okay. And then we have dative prepositions. And if you recall that An der schönen blauen Donau song, it's aus, out of, or from. Außer, except for. By, could say by, with, like having something on your person. Außer by, mit, with, nach, after, or to a large-scale destination. Let's say to a city. Seit, since. Or for, so ich arbeite seit 5 Jahren bei der Firma, would be like I'm working 4 or 5 years, even though I'm saying since 5 years at this particular office or company. Von, of, or from. You've probably heard last names with the von in them, and that's a sign of nobility. So if you watch Game of Thrones, it's like saying, Tyrion of House Lannister, so of, von. Or if we talk about die Uhrzeit, so von 10 bis 12, from 10 until 12. And then we have zu. That can mean to a place within a city. We'll just say to a small place, small scale. Could say at, zu Hause. So those are the uses of the dative. There are a couple verbs that are also followed by dative. But as far as I can remember, none of them are in the material that we learn in this course except for gefallen, which is like to like or to please. And we won't get into that now. We'll talk about it later. So we're going to start then with definite articles. In English, we only have one definite article, regardless of the placement of the noun within the sentence, and that is the. In German, we have more than that, but we do have the 3 genders and then plural. Those are all like part of the noun and need to be learned with the noun. So in nominative, these are the first words we learned, are words for the. So we have maskulin, der, feminin, die, neutrum, das, und plural, die. So in accusative, when we're moving from the person or thing doing the action of the verb to the person or thing receiving it, then we have den, die, das, die. So this is our only change. And I think we did yellow for accusative. Yes. Just to point that out, that's the one changing. Dative, everything changes. So we have maskulin, dem, feminin, der, neutrum, dem, und plural, den. And if you have a plural noun, like Kinder, for example, it's usually going to end in an N in the dative. So we could say mit den Kindern. And I will highlight this in green, so you see we're adding that. The good news about the dative is that if you're not sure if a noun is masculine or neuter, you can use it in the dative without worrying too much. We have dem and dem. So those are our definite articles. At this point, we can move on to the indefinite articles. And, wow, this is not very pretty. Let's do some line breaks. So, if we get rid of all of this, we can start fresh. No, I don't want to do that. So we have ein. These are a or an words. So we're using our definite articles to refer to a specific thing or idea or person. So ich trinke das Wasser, I drink the water, like I'm referring to like specific water, like maybe I have a bottle of water. If I say ich trinke Wasser, I drink water, I could just be saying I drink water in general, because as a human, one has to drink water. Man muss Wasser trinken. So we have ein, eine, ein. And we're not going to have a or an in plural. So we can say keine, so no, or none. So keine Äpfel would be no apples. And our endings here, I'll put a little underline under. We've got these e's for feminine and then the die plural. Accusative, as with the definite articles, we're only making one major change, and that is for masculine, einen. We're going to get the same 2 letters ending the word as we have with our definite article, so den, einen. Die bleibt eine, das bleibt ein und Plural keine. So, dann haben wir den Dativ. So in dative, everything has an ending, including our neutral words that we haven't given an ending yet up to this point. So we have einem. So if you remember that dem, you can remember this ending as well. Just the same ending. Einer. So we're adding this R to eine. Wieder mal einem. Dem, einem. And then we'd have the en ending for plurals, keinen. We've also talked a little bit about possessive adjectives. So that would be like if I say, my house is yellow. Here the word my is describing the noun house. So these are adjectives. In English we'd have like my, your, his, her, its, what else? Are, their. Yeah, and so on. I don't know if I'm forgetting any, but we have these in German and they follow this exact same pattern. So if we look at ein as kind of the base form here, I'll highlight that in a different color. We'll make it gray. It's our base. This doesn't have any add-ons yet. It's the game without the DLC. So for these we have my would be mine. Your would be dein, or your formal, ihr. Your plural informal, so y'all's, euer. So, was haben wir denn noch? His, sein, its, auch sein. Her, ihr, and their. Ihr, wieder. This one, so if you can think that her is feminine, and this is ihr, think about how in the definite articles we're always changing to die, the feminine article, for plurals. Like here we would have a plural owner, many owners, theirs, something is theirs. So we have ihr, und dann unser, so our. So we take these base words, and there are 3 cases where we're not going to change these at all. So that would be masculine nominative and neutral nominative and accusative, so das words. Otherwise, we add the same endings, and then the only caveat with that is that euer sometimes loses this E in the middle. So let me copy this real quick, and I'll just go through euer with you guys. So euer. So this is for masculine nouns. Euren. Eurem. Feminin. Eure. So we're dropping that E again. Eure. Dativ, eurer. Neutrum, euer. Base word, wieder euer. Dann eurem. Plural, eure. So here we're going to use the D endings, except for dativ, of course. Euren. Mit euren Freunden. So then which of these we select, which ending, is determined by the noun that we're possessing, not by the gender of the owner. So we can say the ball belongs to the boy. Das ist sein Ball. So this is his Ball. Das ist nominative because this is just a linking verb. So we're linking das. Und der Ball. Ball is a masculine noun, and this is nominative. So we would go with this form, the base form, which for his is sein. So das ist sein Ball. I could say, ich werfe seinen Ball. I throw his ball. So I am the subject. I'm carrying out an action, which is throwing, and his ball is what's being thrown. So we know it's in the accusative case, and because it's masculine, it gets this en ending. So ich werfe seinen Ball. I throw his ball, and we can do one with dative as well. Der Junge, the boy, spielt mit seinem Ball. So here we have the ball in the dative case because we have a dative preposition, this mit. So we're going to use the em ending. And there was one more thing I wanted to cover before I close this, and that was personal pronouns, because I've noticed that some people have been confused about the difference between possessive adjectives and personal pronouns. So personal pronouns and the cases. And again, we'll copy our chart. Might need some extra rows, we shall see. So with the possessive adjectives, we have words like my, his, their. They're describing a noun. A pronoun is a substitute for a person. So if I say I'm referring to Claire Dockery, that's me. But I'm using that general I as a substitute. But that's not attached to a noun. It is a noun. So say nouns referring to people. So we have I, me, you, we, us, and so on. So here, instead of doing it like this, hang on. We can start with pronouns in nominative, so we have I, ich. So in English, we do this as well. We have a change between what would be the nominative and the accusative, where we have I and me. So it's like I push the boy, I'm the subject, the boy pushes me, I'm the object of the pushing. So I, in German ich, mich. And in dative, we have mir. So to say dance with me would be tanz mit mir. So then we have du, our singular informal pronoun, you. We have dich. Und dann dir. And you don't have to capitalize these. My computer's just doing it automatically. Thank you, Microsoft Word. So ich, mich, mir, du, dich, dir. Have er, he, ihn, ihm. So der Junge, er spielt mit seinem Ball. We have someone carrying out the action of the verb. It's like in Soviet Russia, the ball would play with him. So we could say, in der Sowjetunion spielt der Ball mit ihm. Like mit, that would be in the dative, accusative. Ihn, ich mag ihn. I like him, singular, male. So er, sie, we'll say this is she. We have a few different sie's. Wieder mal sie. Ihr. Ich tanze mit ihr. I was hoping it would automatically add a new row, but no such luck. You guys can read the difference between these words. So sie, we have the formal sie. This can be singular or plural. And again, we're not going to change it in accusative. Bleibt sie. And in dative, it's going to be ihnen. So, ich gehe mit ihnen ins Büro would be I go with you, my coworker perhaps, into the office. You have wir, we. This one changes, as it does in English. Uns. So we have we and us. Sie haben im Deutschen wir und uns. Und das bleibt uns im Dativ. So that's pretty simple. We have the ihr, ja. Euch. Euch. So we've got these two that are staying the same between accusative and dative. Was haben wir denn noch? Sie. Oh wait, we did she already. We have sie, they. We could do that as well. It works the same as you formal. So sie. Sie. Ihnen. And then finally we have es. It. We have wieder es. Ich mache es. I'll do it. Ihm. So kind of like how we're using sein as the possessive adjective for neuter nouns, we're also seeing this masculine form for es, Neutrum, Pronomen. Aber ja, das ist der Unterschied zwischen Personalpronomen und Possessivadjektiven. Und ich hoffe, das klärt schon ein bisschen auf. I hope that was somewhat enlightening. And I'm recording this just so that you guys will have access to it regardless of your schedules. I know a couple people have taken on new jobs and whatnot. But we will talk about this in the future in the Zoom sessions or via email. And if you've gotten this far in the video, vielen Dank für die Aufmerksamkeit.